What's up, guys? Chatty CRC back with you here. Today I want to talk about Immersion RC's rapid fire module. Now I know everybody's done an initial review and this and that, and it's been out for like 4 or 5 months now, but there's been a lot of changes, and I still think there's like some information gaps out there, especially for someone like myself who's kind of like a mid to long range flyer. Like, how does rapid fire work when we're trying to go a couple kilometers away and we might have some obstructions? Like, how does the antenna stuff work compared to like our Furious module and all that kind of stuff? So I want to show you some video and kind of go over some things real quick that I found out, luckily the easy way, even though it could have been the hard way. But the first thing I want to take a look at here is, for anybody who is picking up a rapid fire, definitely go to Immersion RC's website here, and we'll bring that up. And when you click on rapid fire and you scroll all the way down, you're going to see the firmware downloads, so you can download the actual updater, which you can use to flash your firmware. I had no problems doing that at all. And also, this is all your firmware releases that they give you a changelog on. They even have, I think, a beta firmware at 1.2 now, and I have 1.8 on mine, which is working great. There's also a link here for a live rapid fire manual, which will go over the different ways to install it, set it up, what all the joystick menus do, and all that kind of stuff, so as they're updating it. So this is great. There's been a ton of development going into it. When I first flew with it a couple weeks ago with my friend's HDOs and his rapid fire, I was just blown away, and I'm actually pretty blown away by it still. You know, it does what it is supposed to do. We have, a couple different modes. We have the normal Rapid Fire 1, we have Rapid Fire 2, which will work with a little bit different kind of cameras, like Fox ears, some RUNCAM. I think Eagles might have problems, even though I haven't had any with mine, as well as some different OSDs. And then we have the Legacy mode, which is what our Furious is, old Furious modules run off of, kind of, where it switches back and forth. But inside the OSD, in the manual here, I read this before, but I wanted to do some testing and see how it goes. It says, for long range and a very high gain antenna on one input, please select an input here. So basically, you can tell, the way that the manual is saying is that for long range, you are only going to want to use one antenna. You are not going to want to have it switching unless you're flying within a comfortable area long enough or high enough that you feel that you can get some good antenna blending going on. So if we take a look at my setup, I've done the power mod on my old Dom V2s, well, just with the board and the wire, just because I've taken them apart so many times, and I just didn't want to mess with anything, soldering and breaking them or whatever. So I've got the Ion V2 on here, and I also have the VAS 5.8 Pepper Box Extreme, which isn't even out yet. I picked this up from Alex. It was one of his last. It was his last revision that was going to manufacturing. He had a few of them at Ready Made RC FPV Fest. So this thing's great. When he releases them, definitely pick one up because you're going to love it. So I'm not going to go through the screens and the menus and all that kind of stuff, because that's just not what we're here to talk about. So this is kind of be more for like my mid-range type of guys. And if we go back to the screen capture here, we'll take a look at some video here that I've got with the rapid fire. So this is all DVR. It's really hard to show how good it does in the DVR, but I can tell you that whenever you see any kind of flickers and stuff like that in the DVR, you are seeing something going on in your goggles as well. Usually it looks like a blending or like a ghosting of the image, but like, it never goes away. Like, it'll get a little digital pixelated. It's hard to, like, unless you actually use it and see what I'm talking about, it's kind of hard to convey it. But basically, there's no black screen, there's no static or nothing like that. So it really does what it's supposed to do. So let's take a look at, I'll show you this first flight video here. Alright, so this is my normal flight path that most of you people know here. This is when I was testing Betaflight 3.4 on my Epic the other day. And I can tell you that, you know, you can see where my home arrow is pointing to and how far away I am. Now, I usually, without rapid fire, start to get a little bit of breakup like right here with the Furious. And you can see a little blip right there, which I actually saw that in the rapid fire, but just not even as bad. And you'll see some more static and blipping going on here. You know, actually, that might look a little bit cleaner than what I actually see in the goggles. And you can see the little RSSI values going on here. The top one I'm assuming is going to be my ion. The bottom is going to be the Pepperbox Extreme. So you can always see kind of what's going on with that. But you can see that I was kind of having some, I punched out just because I was having some issues. And then I wanted to dive back down a little bit because, you know, this is kind of like shooting through some stuff and shooting downhill here, so you know I'm kind of breaking line of sight, and I just wanted to see the performance breaking through the trees and all that. And you can see that, you know, it's breaking up for sure, but it's not doing that bad. I mean, it's better than the Furious. I'm not going to put a percentage or a scale on it or whatever. It's definitely better than the Furious. Flying over here, I would always get some of that same kind of stuff. This was definitely over here a little bit more improved than the Furious. You know, I'm shooting through a row of trees and everything that is on my other side of my property line. And then, you know, there's some little bit more trees here, but this kind of goes uphill back here a little bit. So maybe about a 50 to 60 foot elevation. And, you know, my house is like right here, so you can kind of see where I'm flying through. And, you know, this is rapid fire mode 1, and I think it's working pretty good. So let's go to today. So today I wanted to just test out like the regular legacy mode. I wanted to see how this works when I am flying just like a normal flight with my kind of stuff and doing like my little areas. So I wanted to see how the breakup and how everything worked in legacy mode. So we come over to this area here, and you're going to start seeing noise and static, all right? And that is noise and static that you are also seeing in your goggles. So it's basically just working like the Furious did. You know, at this point, it's actually performing worse than the Furious. And I'm not following the manual. I know it says that if you're going to do long range, just use a single antenna, your high gain, and turn off the other input. So I'm going to have to follow back up and do some more testing with that. I'll probably use my wing somewhere sometime, so that way in case something happens like what is about to happen, I can hit return to home. So there was the huge switch. So that is basically how long it took to switch from the top port to the bottom port, I'm assuming, with the high gain antenna. So, you know, that's at least a second, maybe a second and a half, I don't know. So at this point, I'm just kind of like, wow, that really stinks. I wasn't expecting for that to happen. So I wanted to try to go out to a kilometer, which a kilometer is like right here at this road from my house, but you can see everything is just pretty bad. And no matter what I was doing, it must have been switching back and forth between the ion and the Pepperbox, because you could see there that it just totally went away. None of that ever happened with my Furious. So I'll be interested to do some testing here with the one port on just the Pepperbox Extreme to see how things go. And my other question is, well, what if I had two crosshair kind of antennas? You know, if I had like two patches that are exactly the same, could I expect better rapid fire performance at, you know, 1, 2, 3 kilometers? You know, how would that all work? I don't know. All I know is what I have seen here today. So it's kind of unfortunate because I was hoping to like get rid of this thing, but I guess I'm probably going to hold on to this Furious module now just because I don't really know exactly how the rapid fire is going to behave out there, if it's going to like be dependable or not, knowing what I want to do. You know, in our flat tree congested area, I mean, I've taken my old recruit out to, you know, 8, 9, maybe 8 or 9 kilometers, I think is about as far as I've went. I plan on going further with it. I never really thought that rapid fire would get me there, but I don't know. I definitely am kind of like, you know, shaking about it right now. I don't really know what to do. But, you know, for normal flying, doing whatever you're doing, like right out here in front of my house, you know, as long as I don't dip in behind like those trees and that kind of stuff like that, and I guess as long as I just run it, it looked like, you know, in rapid fire mode 1 it was performing just fine. I just couldn't really stretch it like that much further, so I'm just kind of testing the boundaries, and you know, it's just something I guess I'm gonna have to keep on playing with. But I just wanted to kind of update everybody as far as what I'm finding out and how things are going, and maybe you guys can provide some feedback too. So hopefully that helped you guys. Any questions, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, check out the Amazon links. Talk to you later.